Have you ever had any experience with the photography hole at the rink and on the glass, whether it's a puck going through, your stick getting stuck, breaking a finger, or what?
Shooting pucks there at practice.
That's about it.
Little contest, who can get one through the photography hole?
Yeah, exactly. That's about it. I mean, I don't even notice the thing, right? And then, the guy's there for games and takes the pictures, and we get those awesome pictures. And once in never, a guy gets hurt there. When I heard he got hurt like that, I was like, that. I can't even imagine what the odds are of that thing. And, the guys are blocking 90-mile-an-hour slap shots and getting crushed all over the ice. And right? I mean, it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. You're like, seriously, that's how you got hurt?
Yeah.
It's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Like a rock fell out of on his head or something.
Right.
Yeah. See, that third round of the playoffs, and guys are just blocking, doing everything they can. He skates by and snaps a finger on the hole in the glass. It's ridiculous.
It's and they're it's at least game one, right? They didn't say anything past that.
No, I think it's just game one. I don't even know if it's official. It doesn't look good, which means probably not going to happen.
A lot. And I think Winnipeg, given the way everything played out, they don't go fast enough to make those big guys move around. And Vegas is big and fast, and they're skilled, and I think they can move the bigger D around a little bit. I think it's easier for that defense to play against Winnipeg's style of play than it will be to play against Vegas's, in my opinion.
Well, how do they win? If you're in Montreal, that's what you want to know. What is the formula to beating Vegas?
Okay, so I don't think Montreal plays a boring sit-back style. They forechecked and they took all the air out of the other teams. So I think you can forecheck Vegas. I think you can get to the front of the net on them a little bit. I think that's where they generate their offense from. Defensively, they just cannot get caught on the rush. That's a game they can't win. So I think they've got to, you forecheck and you hold the puck and you protect the puck and, you hope your big guys can clog up the middle and then your goalie's good. But I think they can. I think they can make it a hard series. I just think Vegas is too good. I would have said the same with Colorado, but I just think that division, whoever was going to come out of there was going to be too good for Montreal.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is you get through the team and the goalie. I think Marc-Andre Fleury's played his best hockey that I've seen him in many, many years. He's confident. The guys read off of him. He's, a lot, from a structural standpoint, there's not a lot of weaknesses in his game. He looks really strong and confident. And, if Montreal's able to break through, you got the Flower sitting there, and that's something you got to find a way to get to him, because we have seen him melt. It's been a long time though. That's been years ago. What series was that? Was that
Washington.
Philly and Pitt? Wasn't it
Philly Pitt?
Philly. Yeah, it was
Philly Pitt.
That series. I want to say the first game was. I might have this wrong. The first game was 9-7.
It was 10-8. It was
10-8. Okay.
10-8.
Pucks flying in. Goalies had funnels on. Pucks that were wide, they funneled them in. It was unreal, that series.
But there's an interesting relationship here, right? French-Canadian, and he's playing in Montreal in the playoffs in the semifinals. He's seen it all, he's done it all, but this is going to be something that means a lot to him, clearly. Sure. You're playing in Montreal against Carey Price, where Ken Dryden played, and Patrick Waugh, he's familiar with the history. So clearly he's going to play a primary role. And then you have the Pacioretty story hanging over everything as well. He's back in Montreal, and we know how it went out and how he went out, and he's looked pretty good to me. Man, he's had a good couple of years in Vegas, and he's obviously going to be inspired for bigger and better things than just shoving it down the throat of the Montreal Canadiens and Marc Bergevin in particular. But I think most people in Montreal will have Pacioretty circled. Like, what's he got? What's he going to bring to the series?
Yeah, well, I don't often get into the goalie like, oh, I can't wait to see them play each other, because they don't ever face each other. Like they face the shooters. But Fleury and Price really interest me. Suzuki and Pacioretty really interest me.
Yeah,
like there's lots of cool little storylines in it, and there is similarities to Vegas gets pumped that first game. It looked, Colorado looked like they were the video game, right? And Vegas was going to have no chance, and then Montreal looked dead in the water, down 3-1, and so they both figured out the way that they best play, and they both played it, 4 straight for Vegas, and 7th straight for Montreal. They both figured out their way. So I think it'll be really interesting, because it'll be so different, the way the two teams are. The last series was just on a racetrack for Vegas, and this will be different. And there'll be challenges for them in that too. They're not going to get to go as fast as they want. There's going to be some times when it's going to be boring, and the water's muddy, and they got to be patient, and we'll see if they can handle that.
Ray, do you think there's anything Flower can do to possibly, I'm just going off of Twitter nonsense, but they're like possible matchup, whoever wins or plays better might be the starting goalie for Canada, or is that Carey Price's job regardless?
I think it's Price's, but I also think that if Fleury put up 3 shutouts in this series and wins, and then stumbles out of the blocks next year, then he's not the starter. He's got the inside. I would say he's got the inside track for sure to be one of the 3 guys, Fleury and Price, of course. But how does anything this year finalize your roster next year? When they get those guys, isn't it going to be, he's playing the best right now, he's our starter?
Yeah,
not going to be a question mark, I don't think.
I would agree. It's more about choosing the players. If Fleury was on the cusp of it, and then needed a good series, kind of to earn that spot. But I agree with you, Ray. Both of these guys, I think, are going to be on the team. It's going to be who's playing well. You still give Price the inside track, because guess what's going to happen next year around Christmas time? We're going to see regular season Price. And Al's brother is going to be on our show saying that he's the 7th-ranked goaltender in Canada. Blah, blah, blah. And
Jake Allen season.
And Jake Allen's out playing. Remember he had Allen? Did he have Jake Allen as the
ahead of Carey Price in terms of who he was more impressed with?
But at that time, there was regular season Price. And you can't deny that, because, Carey, for some reason, isn't as motivated or isn't as sharp on a Tuesday night in February as opposed to what we've seen here in the playoffs the last couple of years.
Well, just think at one point it was, the conversation was around Price, and then who else is going to be really inexperienced behind him, and then Fleury just went, racing by everybody with the season that he's had. And so what looked at one point gee, maybe there's going to be a couple young guys in the mix, it's the old dogs that are going to be the goalies. I mean, unless something crazy happens between now and then.
Well, throw one other thing in here, because he's capable of doing it. There are only 4 teams left. What if Fleury leads this team to a Stanley Cup win? He might be in the Conn Smythe conversation then. All of a sudden, you get a cup and a Conn Smythe. That's pretty good. You add that to the other cups, the pedigree that Fleury could bring even heading into next season. It's not a slam dunk, but that's what is in front of Marc-Andre Fleury as well as Carey Price. I guess he's got an opportunity. And I think if Montreal wins the cup, Carey Price, I would think, would be the Conn Smythe winner.
Oh, yeah, slam dunk, I would think,
right?
Slam dunk. But listen, I think ultimately what it means is Canadians feel a lot better about the goaltending situation than they did a year ago, 6 months ago even. Because I remember doing this when we were on the panel or for trade deadline or free agency or whichever one it was, and looking at it saying, I like Hellebuck more for the Americans, I like Vasilevsky more for the Russians.
Yeah.
And it was as if the goaltending could be a weak link. And as of now, I don't think that'll be the case. Doesn't mean they'll be the best in the tournament, but they're not going to lose you games. And with the team that Canada is going to put forward, 12 forward, 6 defensemen, you get competent goaltending, you're probably going to win gold. So that works for me. I think it would work for most Canadians.
It's funny, just even talking about this, I don't even think too much about the Olympics, but when you start talking about it like this, I'm like, damn, that would be good. That would be great to watch again.